Hello, everyone in 1B. This is Miss Wright. I'm recording this video to talk to you about what you will do today and also a little bit about the tests that you should be getting back shortly. So first to go over some of the test information. This is the test averages as well as the ranges for every class. As you can see here in 1B, our average is slightly lower than all of the other classes. However, we are not very far off from 4A and 2A. And also the range is an 8% to an 88.9%. And the reason why I post the ranges is not necessarily so you feel competitive with your classmates. The reason why I post the ranges is really to give you a good understanding of where you stand. For instance, if you are towards the top of the range, like towards the 70s and 80s, you can feel pretty confident in your understanding of the material. And on the other hand, if you are in the bottom of the range, say if you are in like the 30s or below, that can actually be beneficial information for you to know, because you know that most of the people in the class got a higher score than you. Therefore, you have lots of people who you can turn to for help with your test corrections, right? Because if you got, let's say, the lowest score, that means that potentially every single person in class can help you with at least one of the questions. And so that is a benefit of that. Okay, moving on. Here's the score distribution for 1B. As you can see, the most common score by far, I just covered up the range, was the 40 to 49% range. So that is the most common range. And then we have pretty much a tie for the next place between the 30s, the 50s, and the 70s. Okay. But again, the purpose of posting this is not so that you feel really competitive with your peers. It's so that you understand where you are. So maybe you're good in this class, or maybe you need to step it up and start coming to office hours or something like that. Okay. So there will be, of course, test corrections. Test corrections are going to be due on Monday, February 10th. So you are encouraged to come to office hours all this week to work on those test corrections. You can come during lunch, except for on Friday when I have cafe duty. And you can come after school, except for on Wednesday when it is early release. And then the better your test corrections are, the more points that you get back. So the way that your points back works for test corrections is if you have really good test corrections, you can get back up to 70% of the points that you missed. And if you have not so great test corrections, you will get back maybe 30% of the points you missed. An example of not very good test corrections would be, I've had people in the past give me test corrections where all of the answers are still wrong, right? So the point of test corrections isn't just to say, oh, look, I did it, give me my points. The purpose of test corrections is to show me that you've actually learned what you missed. So I know that you know the material and I can give you the points back. Okay. So the difference between good test corrections and bad test corrections can be almost 30%. So that's a really huge difference. So make sure your test corrections are good. And then what should your test corrections include? If you want to make a chart on the paper, feel free to do that. And you can have your question number, original answer and why it's wrong, your new answer, and your work. And that should be a way to get good test corrections. Please feel free to work on this for the rest of class. Reach out to your peers for help. But again, you want to understand the material and not just copy down what someone else has. Okay, now how do I end this?